The Aelfir stands alone in a field of grass. A blue sky above him as the sun crests into its highest position in the sky. And the ground beneath begins to shake. And as it opens up beneath his feet, tendrils of stone and root and metal erupt around and begin to wrap around the Aelfir. As it begins to pull him down into the ground and he looks up into the sky, the sun itself begins to dim and turn into a blood red. Beneath him, the ground continues to open up, and the Aelfir is no longer an Aelfir. He has grown in size and perspective as the ground beneath begins to get smaller and smaller, and he continues to rise higher and higher. For the Aelfir is now an impossibly tall tower, built upon itself over thousands of years. And the Aelfir has become Spire, and he looks down on his hands, and he sees the ramshackle buildings of perch hanging off the ends of his fingers, and he sees the worshippers of Stoltz throwing themselves off the side of his right hand in their marriages of random chants, and he can hear the singing of 1,000 worshippers somewhere in the center of his abdomen around Pilgrim's Row, and he can feel the works moving around inside of his chest, the thousands of pieces of machinery all churning and working and suffering together. And then the ground continues to open up, and it continues to go deeper down, and his feet reach deeper down into the surface than even the tower can be. Is this just the tip that pierces out from the ground? How far does his tower go? How deep does this construction reach? And just before the answers appear before him, the sky begins to darken, and the clouds begin to move in, and the sun is no longer visible, and he can't reach up to it anymore, for the tower itself is pulling his arms into himself, and it is suffocating, and the air is smoky, and it chokes him, and the sounds of the singers inside of his body now turn to screams, and around all parts of his body, the tower that is his arms begins to crack and seep and bleed and crumble, and as he begins to fall down towards the ground, before he reaches and obliterates and turns into dust, the sound of music.
Come back, my lord.